There you go, Kate Bush there with Man with a Child in His Eyes, one of Tadhg Hickey's favourite songs of all time, apparently.
I was nodding away anyway, wasn't I? It's been the time of my life.
Tadhg Hickey, you're very welcome. 1/3 and creative director of CCCahoots. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It's a real pleasure. I'm glad to see you down this neck of the woods as well. And it's also good to see Claire O'Connell, the producer. She's not going to talk.
She won't talk.
She won't talk.
No.
She promised not to talk.
Claire's super shy, but she's very good. And she is Cahoots, really. She manages and produces everything we do. But she's just shy. She doesn't need attention, I suppose.
Is she a creative producer?
She is.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's very creative, yeah.
But let's not talk about her.
Let's not let her talk anyway, supposed to be the main thing.
That would be the main thing as well. So, widely regarded as one of the most exciting troupes in Irish comedy, you yourself said that you're one of the most fantastically funny people on. I can't read your writing here, Tadhg. Old joke.
That's not
joke.
me. That's almost certainly Laura, what you're reading out.
Indeed. Give us a flavour of who you are.
So we try to do kind of deadpan comedy, I suppose, is what we're doing. It's kind of like very much influenced on some of the stuff in The Office and Ricky Gervais' stuff in The Office and that kind of style. But then there's kind of bigger, kind of more surreal sketches, like we'd be influenced by Monty Python as well. But we try to do stuff that's character driven, I suppose. That would hopefully be our signature, as opposed to like picking sketches about like some current world event that we have to do something on that to try and get it to go viral. We usually just start with characters, like what's an interesting character, and most of my characters anyway, and I think I speak for all of them, come from just like people I would just be listening to in my childhood, and still, like, I mean, I just think Cork people are just endlessly hilarious.
So it's based around what you would experience out in the streets, say, you know, growing up, and, you know, thinking back, and current people that you would bump into and hear in a bar, for example. Yeah,
definitely. Or like I find as well, like the people that I was surrounded with when I was a kid growing up, like they'd talk in a kind of a way that it kind of is slightly going out of fashion, but like if we can kind of keep it going, I'd love to do that. Like, 'cause people just, the way people talk is just hilarious, like where I grew up anyway.
Yeah, but you're no Kerry girl, are you?
No, certainly not. No, even though I'm gorgeous as a Kerry girl, I've been told.
I must say it's three very funny characters, I must admit. Yeah.
Oh, nice one. Cheers.
I did like that. Yes, very much so. Yeah. How did you guys get together? I mean, was it like a Footlikes review type? You all went to university or something like that?
A little bit, yeah. I suppose not a million miles away. We all would have been doing kind of serious theatre and acting, and Dom still does an awful lot of that. But I think for myself and Laura, we realised when we were doing the serious theatre that, well, maybe I'll just speak for myself here actually, I'm not good enough at it really to kind of compete. And what I really wanted to be doing was comedy, but I didn't have the guts to go, I'm so funny, you need to listen to me for like 20 minutes. So yeah, that was just my experience. I was getting into acting as a means of getting into comedy, and I think myself and Laura met each other in that kind of period, because she directed me in a play years ago and we just didn't crack a single joke at each other. And then we realised when it was all done and dusted that we wanted to be having a laugh.
Right.
And then I suppose I kind of put them together a little bit because I was looking for a really good straight man as well to put a group together. So I think I thought you needed a hilarious woman, and Laura was the funniest woman I'd ever met. And, well, with the exception of Claire, but Claire won't talk back so I can insult her freely.
Claire who?
And then I wanted a really good straight man. And I think Dom is he's just a brilliant, he's kind of like a rock in the sketch. Yeah. But then he's really funny in a different, more subtle way as well. But I think those components are vital in a really dynamic kind of comedy group. So yeah,
as in you need that dry side of things.
Totally, yeah. You need like the straight guy for the sketch to actually work. I think a lot of the times, because if you just have like larger than life with larger than life, it's kind of tedious, I think. After a while, so Dom will give you that kind of presence of reality all the time, I think, like with his kind of stony face, like.
And he carries that through.
Yeah,
and everything he does.
In everything he does, yeah, both on and off camera, like.
I'm not saying he's Michael Caine.
He's close enough in his own way.
As in, he's always Michael Caine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So did any of you start as stand-ups, or even do a stint at it?
Yeah, like, I don't think so, really. I'm like just thinking about Laura. Like, for me, it was like, yeah, it's the same for her. We started off doing acting, and then we realised we wanted to do comedy. And then Laura went off and did loads of stand-up before Cahoots actually even got going. She progressed really far in So You Think You're Funny. Like, it's a big UK comedy competition, you obviously know it. And I did stand-up a little bit later, but no, we were kind of starting off as kind of being serious actors. And I think that probably helps a little bit in the sketch comedy thing as well, because we're trying to portray characters, to go back to that point again, where you're trying to make the sketches feel like that the comedy is actually just an element of it, that it doesn't have to be, you know, that it's authentic and that the characters are actually hopefully realised quite well. That's what we aim to do anyway. Now, it hasn't really worked out all that well for us because our numbers aren't that high online, so maybe we should just start like picking up on whatever will go viral. I don't know.
But I mean, you're working on other stuff as well. I mean, you're writing a film.
Yeah, right. I'm writing a film, and I'm doing a
script.
Yeah, I'm working on a script. I wrote something for a BBC competition. It's like 18 months ago now at this stage. And
it's the writer's room.
Yeah, the writer's room, exactly. Yeah, and it was shortlisted from there. So I'm redeveloping that that script into a feature film hopefully next year. And I'm doing a solo show as well called In One Eye Out the Other, which is going to feature in First Fortnight Festival in January. And that's going to tour next year. I'll do a little plug for Laura as well. Laura's doing her first ever solo show in The Everyman in March. So what's any idea of the date of that? Again, now Claire doesn't talk. She just makes kind of facial gestures when I get things wrong.
It's after the 1st and before the 31st.
I'm going to go with mid-March. Yeah. So we're doing lots of different bits and pieces outside of Cahoots as well, like, and obviously Dom is in the Young Offenders, and that's just been booked for a third season.
For a third series, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, no, it's great, and it's cool when people do their own things. They come back with different, like we've just done a series for series for Tadhg Hickey as well, which is going to be put out in December, I think. Claire, yeah. Claire says yeah. So people doing their own thing, they come back together and they have new ideas and new kind of modes of working and stuff. So it's useful that way. People doing their own thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot of work with, as you said, with Channel 4.
Yeah, well, Channel 4 kind of picked up on some of the stuff that we were doing and kind of gave us like a series of really good notes. And we've had like good working relations with scripts and stuff with BBC, but we're just moving towards trying to get a full production with one of those. And
is that BBC 3? Is it?
Well, that's where we're targeting, I suppose. Yeah. And the BBC are great. Like they give you feedback, and if you get to a point where they like what you're doing, they kind of give you constant feedback on what you're sending into them. So that would be the dream, all right, kind of going forward, and also kind of interesting feature films as well. That's where we would like to be long term, and then touring as well. I suppose like bigger shows, like we did the Opera House in January just gone. And it was cool doing this tour. Like y'all will be the final night of this tour. We've toured around to, like, we've been around kind of County Cork, and like that kind of intimate show feel. It's for us, it's kind of nearly more enjoyable because you just have that freedom to really play, like, and the audience is kind of in it, and we have as much.
Just have like a conversation in our front room.
Exactly.
And just ignore them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, a lot of our sketches feel very much like that anyway, because we're going for a natural enough style, so it just really feels like we're just chatting to each other, and there happens to be 50 or 60 people sitting down watching you, like so.
Now when you're doing things like Chatitude.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Are they scripted?
No.
Right.
No. So yeah, the podcast would be, we'll literally just sit down and one of the three of us will say, what about death? What about food? What about life? And we'll go, all right, yeah, kick off that way.
And you just blag around that?
Just blag, yeah, blag on.
And if you, but I mean, if you're doing something else, it would be scripted. How much off script do you go?
It's funny, actually, you say that, like, because for a while we all kind of have done a lot of improvisation as well. The lads are still doing a lot of improvisation. But we've come back round. We've gone full circle. We started off with scripts and then improvise off the scripts and kind of play around. But we've actually come round to the scripts being kind of sacrosanct again, like, because it helps the day to go quicker when everyone knows what they're doing on set. And a lot of the time, like,
and you're not annoying Claire.
You're not annoying Claire, and you're improvising. You're thinking like, oh, this is amazing. Like, this is so cool here. Now I'm coming up with great stuff here. And then you watch it back in the edit, and there's one or two lines that are good, but the thing that you wrote actually was probably a bit stronger. So it's just learning. Like, I think as we get a bit older, it's just a mode of working to maybe do your improvisation in the room and then script the best bits out of that and kind of go forward from there.
Does any of that lead to creative differences or arguments?
Not really. Like, we're
because you're too chilled.
We're quite good that way. Yeah, we're all have a like. What can definitely happen, I think, is like we had a meeting recently where we talked about where the sketches are going. When we don't meet up constantly, they can kind of drift into being a little bit more. We want to be liked than what we originally set out to do. You know, so like characters that you create that are quite kind of like straight can end up being a bit like bigger when you're kind of trying to get numbers. So if we have a character called Patrick, who's this like posh lad from Rochestown who's complaining about people from Passage coming up, and like I'd hold my hand up and say, as he started to become popular, some of the sketches I did subsequently with him, I was kind of accidentally trying to satisfy an audience that he'd got, so he started becoming a little bit bigger than the original character was designed.
Yes.
So sometimes it's a process just to take them back down and be true to what you're actually trying to do, like rather than kind of chase numbers and become like the most popular act in Ireland, which is like we're not going to get there anyway, and B, it's not really our comedy style, like, do you know.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean that's a bit different. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
keep it the way it is as well, because it works that way.
Exactly, like, and that's why it originally worked. Whereas, like, yeah, but sometimes that impulse to just go a bit bigger just kind of kicks in.
And Anthony?
Anthony's another example of that too, to be honest with you. But the thing about Anthony was I ended up making him a little bit bigger live, because people used to actually be a little bit scared of him, because when I played him like dead straight, there'd sometimes be this kind of slight atmosphere in the room, wasn't there, Claire, where it was like, this guy's going to kick off.
It's a bit tense.
You know? Yeah, it's really tense. Like, so I started making him a little bit more twitchy and a little bit like, you know, okay, all right, you know, just to kind of make people feel like he's not going to kick off. But Anthony's one of my favourites, and that's just like, there's people in my family are Anthony, like, you know, there's no character creation there at all. It's just literally go home for a cup of tea and I meet Anthony, like, you know, he's not, his name's not Anthony though.
No. We won't go there.
No. No.
So you're in the Mall House, the Mall Arts Centre, this coming weekend.
Yeah.
What can people expect there?
So a wide range, like there's characters you'll know, and then there's sketches that we just do specifically when we go live. And Anthony, actually, there's a set piece sketch with him. There's a few sketches that involve singing. There's even some dancing. There's a really cool sound design. There's original music in it. It's a full show, and there's like an accumulative bit at the end that I won't spoil for you. But there's a little bit of audience interaction at the end and stuff. So
fantastic.
If you're a Cahoots fan, I think you'll like it. But if you've never heard of us, I think it's designed that you will really like it and enjoy it as well.
Brilliant. And the music is by?
Dara Keary is his name. Really cool musician in Cork. Yeah, hi Dara.
Fantastic, good stuff as well. So now I just wanted to point this out. I came across this when I was looking into yourselves and just trying to do a bit of background stuff. There was a report from Oxford University that suggested that the secret, and I'll look at this, to making other people laugh is by having an unusual personality structure. And research suggests that high levels of psychotic personality traits are necessary. Now, do you think that? Can you see that in anyone?
I mean, up until that question, I was thinking, like, this is such a well-researched interview, you know. I was like, I love this guy, and now you've ended up calling me a psycho right at the end. Like, no, you're totally right. And I think there's all the comics I like, people I even hang around with, they're all mad. Like, they're definitely, like, all my favourite comics are insane. I'd say, Claire, you'd really agree there, would you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Claire's nodding.
Well, I would as well, because they're not your ordinary people. You have to be a bit different to be that funny and, you know, to be that entertaining and to be that fearless, I guess, to get up and do that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd hope to put myself in that category one day, but all my heroes would be way madder than I am. But I'm hoping to get madder.
Indeed. Well, that's fine. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tadhg Hickey.
I'm just going to trash the place there before I go.
I'll give you a hand. Okay, do we have the date of when is it the Saturday or the Friday?
Yes, it's the Saturday, which would be the 30th, Claire?
This Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday coming, the 30th, and it's an 8:30 kick-off? 8 p.m. kick-off.
8 p.m.
That's why Claire's here.
Do we have to pay Claire now for talking?
No, Claire's free. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So 8 o'clock kick-off on Saturday night in the Mall Arts Centre, Cahoots, and that's with yourself, and with Dominic, and with Laura.
Thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate it.
It's been a real pleasure having you in the studio here, and really appreciate you coming down as well. And thank you to you yourself, Claire, as well. You the driver?
I am.
All right.
You got her talking. Fair play. First person to get her talking.
Well, there you go. We'll put that out. We'll just edit the rest of it out and just put it out. No, it's been a real pleasure talking to you guys, and I really do appreciate taking time coming down here and coming into the studio. It's been fabulous. And I'm sure a lot of people will be along there Saturday night as well. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Lads,
Cheers.
thanks ever so much.
Thanks a million.
Pleasure.